Skip tracing, the secret weapon that big-time real estate investors swear by, or just an expensive hobby for people who think they're in an episode of The Wire? We're about to find out if this tool actually moves the needle for the small investor, or if it's just another shiny object draining your budget before you ever close a deal. Let's set the scene. You're a small investor, maybe working with $50,000 to $100,000, scrolling through the MLS at midnight like it owes you something, and someone in a Facebook group tells you the real money is in off-market deals. Skip tracing is the process of tracking down property owners who aren't actively selling, using data like phone numbers, emails, and addresses pulled from public records, credit headers, and other sources. And suddenly it sounds like you've been given a treasure map. The urgency here is real, because off-market properties can be purchased at discounts of 10 to 30% below market value, and in a high interest rate environment where margins are already razor thin. That gap between market and below market is the difference between a deal and a disaster. Wholesalers, hedge funds, and institutional buyers have been skip tracing at scale for years, and if you're not playing the same game, you're essentially bringing a slingshot to a cannon fight. Now here's where the story gets interesting, because just 2 or 3 years ago, everyone was talking about how easy real estate was. Rates were low, values were climbing, and you could practically throw a dart at a zip code and make money. That optimism has been replaced by a market that's tighter, more competitive, and more expensive to enter, which means finding motivated sellers before they hit the open market has gone from a nice to have to a genuine edge. The psychological weight of this shift is heavy, and a lot of small investors are wavering right now, questioning whether the juice is worth the squeeze on any strategy, including skip tracing. But here's what the experienced voices in the room keep saying. The investors who quit experimenting during slow markets are the same ones who missed the last 3 recoveries. Historically, direct-to-seller marketing has always outperformed passive, list-based strategies during periods of contraction, and skip tracing is just the modern, data-driven version of knocking on doors, which, by the way, was considered radical and wasteful back in the 1980s too. The irony is that every generation of investors thinks their version of hustle is uniquely brilliant, and then realizes it's just a remix of what worked 30 years ago with a different software subscription attached. Here's a cycle you need to understand. Real estate markets compress. Competition for listed deals, spikes, smart money pivots to off-market sourcing. The tools for off-market sourcing become commoditized, and then the next compression begins, and skip tracing is currently somewhere between smart money and commoditized, which means the window to use it as a real differentiator is open, but not infinitely so. The community consensus, from BiggerPockets forums to local RIA meetups, is that skip tracing works best when paired with a consistent follow-up system, because most motivated sellers don't say yes the first time you call. One of the biggest misconceptions is that skip tracing is somehow shady or invasive, and we need to address that head on, because it's keeping good investors on the sidelines for the wrong reasons. The data used in skip tracing is largely sourced from public records and legally aggregated databases, and reaching out to a property owner directly is no different than a real estate agent. Cold calling, expired listings, it's legal, it's ethical, and it's been happening in some form since the industry began. The practical cost breakdown matters here. Most skip tracing services charge between 8 cents and 50 cents per record, and platforms like Batch Skip Tracing, PropStream, or Rysift offer bulk pricing that can bring that number down significantly for even a modestly sized list. If you're pulling 500 records and converting even one deal at a wholesale fee of $10,000, the math isn't complicated. Your skip trace cost was probably $40 to $200, and your return was 50 to 250 times that. But here's the discipline part that nobody wants to talk about. The skip trace itself is not the strategy, it's just the first step. And small investors consistently overinvest in data and underinvest in follow-up systems, scripts, and the emotional resilience to handle rejection at scale. You need to size your outreach to match your actual capacity to follow up, because a list of 5,000 names you never call is worth exactly $0 and whatever you paid for the data. The lesson history keeps teaching us is that the tool matters far less than the process. And the investors who built real wealth through direct mail, cold calling, and now skip tracing all share one trait. They showed up consistently when it felt like nothing was working. Moderate risk here means starting with a small, targeted list, distressed properties, inherited homes, high equity owners, rather than blasting an entire county and burning your budget on low probability leads. Philosophically, the question, is skip tracing worth it, is actually the wrong question. The right question is whether you're willing to build a repeatable, low ego system around whatever tool you choose. Discipline, position sizing, and consistency will always outperform conviction and timing. Whether you're talking about stocks, crypto, or cold calling a landlord in Tulsa who hasn't paid taxes in 3 years. And honestly, you don't even need to love this strategy to use it well. You just need to be rational enough to test it with a small budget, track your results without emotion, and double down only when the numbers justify it. The investors who get hurt are the ones who go all in on a tool before they've proven it works in their specific market with their specific follow-up capacity at their specific price point. So whether skip tracing becomes your primary deal source or just one spoke in a larger wheel, the real win is that you now understand the system well enough to make an informed decision instead of just following hype. That clarity alone is worth more than any data pull. If you're ready to take the next step, whether that's real estate investing, home contracting work, or finding the right lender to fund your first or next deal, check out our links in the description below and let's help you get started.